Oh boy, it's Friday. Let's check out what's trending on Twitter. This Chinese helicopter thing. See what's going on here. What is this, Blue Thunder?
Bring that ass back like a boom boom.
Oh. Why?
Like a boom, 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 boom.
Okay, well, that's nice. Okay.
3, 2, 1, fight off.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mover Mailbag. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a great week and we'll have a great weekend. Remember, 1 week left for the Folds of Honor, Fight for Honor 2020 DCS tournament. The proceeds will go to support Folds of Honor, so even if you don't plan on participating, go to the link in the description, foh.org/fight for honor, make a donation. It is a worthy cause. But if you have DCS, you know, try it. Lose with honor, suck with confidence. It is for a worthy cause. It is a lot of fun. So hope to see you there. We'll be live streaming the last several rounds on October 3rd and 4th on this channel and on my Twitch channel. So check that out. But I really encourage everybody to sign up. It's only $10 this year, so should be a lot of fun. Today on the Mover Mailbag, I'm going to answer your questions from email. So let's get started. First one comes from Barry. Hello, Mover. I've been watching your YouTube channel recently and really liked your videos. I'd like to ask a few questions about general fighter pilot things. Is it possible for pilots to listen to music while flying their jets, like through CD, cassette, or just downloaded music? I understand it would be distracting, but what about 1v0 flying solos? Could you listen to some music then? Have you ever listened to music while flying a fighter jet? Not really. Is it possible? Yes. I mean, they make the little pigtail splice and stuff, but no. And unless you're Doug Masters, and then it's okay. And that's the only way you can actually save your father from, captivity. But no, not really. Is it possible? Yes. Does it happen? Not that I know. I never did. 2, do you think fighter jets will become obsolete? I've heard a bunch of people saying that there isn't a need for fighter planes anymore, or at least a need for fighter pilots. When do you think the profession of being a fighter pilot will give out?
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
Not anytime soon. Decades. Decades. You'll see, I think, cargo and tankers probably go away before you see fighter pilots go away. My opinion only. 3rd, what do you think about the F-15 Eagle? I know that you always make fun of Eagle pilots. True. But what do you think about the jet overall? Do you have any friends or buddies that flew the F-15? Yeah, I have plenty of friends and buddies that flew the F-15. I think it's a great airplane, air-to-air superiority. It's just we haven't needed air superiority in any of the conflicts we've done in a while, but it's definitely a very capable machine, and it's, the pilots, while we do make fun of them, they are still fighter pilots, and they are our friends. Thank you for answering these questions. Appreciate it. No, but actually, I really appreciate it. Barry. Cool. Thanks for the email, Barry. Arv asks, landing with the master arm set to on. Hey there, mailbag. Did you just call me a mailbag? I thought about, is that like a douchebag? I thought about something recently and just have to ask, what do you get if you, after a live fire exercise or combat mission, land with bombs remaining on the hard points and the master arm switch set to on, i.e. forgetting to switch it back off on the way back? Totally never happened in the sim. I was thinking maybe some sharp words from maintenance crew, piercing glares from commanding officers. I mean, you shouldn't do that, but I mean, nothing's really, once you land, weight on wheels, it's not going to do anything. I mean, it's not like Doug Masters. Like, it was, it's 2 references to Doug Masters in one mailbag. Is this a record? I mean, the weight on wheel switch, unless it fails, will keep anything from coming off the aircraft. Obviously, you shouldn't land like that. And, if somebody discovers it, they'll probably say, hey, dummy, look what you forgot. But, I mean, it's not, it's not like the jet is now at risk for dropping or shooting something while it's sitting there. So, I don't know about piercing glares from the commanding officers. I've never gotten one of those that I'm aware of. I usually just don't look. All right, this comes from Emmett. Preparing for Navy fighter school early. Fighter school. I'm a grade school student 3 years away from my private license. I want to become a Navy fighter pilot and try to get to the Naval Academy. Right now I have the GPA in sports to do that, but I have to keep it. Haha. Is there anything I can do to get a head start on fighter-oriented things? I have hours in Cessnas and Diamond aircraft. I can do all my maneuvers, actions, and perfect civilian check ride scores, and I have my written test endorsement. Any recommendations? Love the channel, by the way. Gives a lot of good advice and info. Hope to see more helicopter stuff sometime in the future. Thanks, E. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Enjoy your high school years. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. You're doing great. I mean, the military, your goal should be keep your grades, do what you're doing, and once you get to the level, because you've got a lot in between becoming a fighter pilot and where you're at now. I mean, you have to, if you're going the Navy route, you're going to have to get selected, go to OCS, then go, it's actually about to change, but primary. So you're going to have to fly T6s, and then you're going to have to fly T45s. You're going to have to get carrier grades, all that stuff. So you got a lot in between where you are and where you're going to be. I love that you're, leaning forward and thinking ahead and all that stuff, but just take it one step at a time and just keep doing what you're doing. Just worry about, like we fly with low level, near rocks, far rocks, check lead, check six. So near rocks, what's in front of me? What's the biggest threat? And for you, that is continue what you're doing, keeping your grades, doing the sports, all that stuff. Far rocks, how can I set myself up in the future for the next thing? For that, it'll be college and doing well in college. Check lead, check six. I don't know if that's really a good analogy for anything, but I mean, check lead, help your bros, which is a gender neutral term, boys and girls. Help your classmates, help each other learn and get better and, cooperate to graduate. And then check six, worry about yourself, take care of yourself. Don't just burn out on becoming a fighter pilot. Have a social life. Enjoy your high school years and your college years, because you only get that once. All right, next question. Thanks for the email, E. Dylan says, I had 3 questions I'd love to get your opinion on. I'm a junior in college pursuing aerospace and mechanical engineering just for some background. Previously asked something similar, I figured to ask anyway. Now, you said some fighter pilots who work other busy jobs while in the Air Guard, such as lawyer, but do you think it makes sense to try to work, let's say, an engineering position in a well-established company, government agency while flying in the Guard, such as NASA or a company like Lockheed Martin? Do many people doing both first begin flying fighters in the Guard and then work at the company, or first work somewhere else, then join the Guard? Do you think bigger companies would be more understanding if you joined and were going through UPT while working for them? I know legally they can't fire you based on serving in the military. I'm just wondering if you think it would piss an employer off or maybe not be that feasible. I'm just wondering to myself if it makes more sense to try pursuing this option or just going active duty and focusing on the military. Obviously, I don't want to just do the bare minimum to get by with whatever I'm doing, as I'd want to excel with my career. So maybe juggling 2 very time-consuming careers wouldn't be the best option. I'd love to get your opinion. I'm going to wait to the end because you got 3 questions, but I think they're all relative. Also, in regards to the Guard, if my goal is to be a test pilot, does it make sense to join the Air National Guard versus active duty? I know typically they just select active duty guys for test pilot school, and I know of only one other guy who was in the Guard or reserves who was a test pilot. Not sure how much of a pain that is, and there are hoops if you'd have to jump through. Lastly, is there anything to look out for when talking to a recruiter and might be something they brush over or fail to tell you about? There are things you wish you knew or you would have prepared for had you known them. Really enjoy your videos. Okay. Knowing those 2 things, I would say you need to go active duty. And I don't say this very often, but you want to be a test pilot and that's your end goal. You've got an engineering degree. If that's your goal, you need to go active duty. That should be what you're aiming towards, because Guard reserve units, although it's possible, it's far less likely. And I think you'd be a little distracted because and even active duty, your first assignment's not going to be to test pilot school. You're going to have to make the grades, do all the stuff to get there, fly your first or 1 or 2 flying assignments and whatever fighter you get, and then you can apply to test pilot school. But knowing that, that's what I would do. Otherwise, as far as your question, I would definitely try to get hired with a Guard reserve unit first, and then when you get out, you'll be more qualified to go work for a Lockheed Martin or a contractor or Northrop, Boeing, Raytheon, etc. Obviously you can. It's called, you get up to 5 years USARA protection so that you can go and do your military training and all that stuff. But personally, I would say get hired as soon as possible in your fighter unit or active duty, and then worry about it on the backside. Contractor jobs, 9-to-5 jobs are a lot less flexible. I mean, some are really good. Some will even they'll even pay you while you're doing your reserve or guard job. But I just think, focus on one thing at a time, get that pilot slot, then come back and then worry about it, because you've got, probably 3 to 5 years if you get into a fighter before, you're eligible to not be full-time and you can go be a traditional reservist or a drill status guardsman, which are the part-timers. And it may just be too much to handle. You're right. I mean, it may just be too much to juggle 2 full-time positions. But that's my advice. Given knowing that you want to go be a test pilot and stuff, I would say go active duty, and then, from there, try to get that goal achieved. As for the last one, anything to look out for: a recruiter should not be your source of information. They are there to facilitate your application and facilitate your transfer into the military. You need to do your own homework, and you need to know the answers, because if you rely on a recruiter, no offense to recruiters, but they haven't done this job, and they don't have a lot of direct knowledge of things beyond their scope, right? They don't know what pilot training is like. They don't know any of the stuff that happens after that package is submitted and you go to OCS or OTS or whatever you end up doing. So don't rely on a recruiter to tell you stuff. Just make sure the regs as far as medical stuff. So make sure that what you need and what you're going to have to go do, and make sure you're just an informed I want to say buyer, but it is. It's like going to a car dealership, and it's either the salesman sells the car to you or you already know what you want and you're basically just working out the finer details. I think you'll do a lot better if you're the person that's informed and just trying to go through the process than trying to ask recruiter questions, because 9 times out of 10, it's just outside of their scope. So that's kind of my advice: is know your stuff. So ask your questions elsewhere. Tim asks, hey, Lieutenant Commander, Major, Deputy, Mover, aside from a donation to Folds of Honor, will there be any way for less experienced sim pilots, aka me, to participate in pulling off this event? If there is, please advise, as I am willing to do what I can to support you in Folds of Honor in any way possible. Yeah, you can. DCS is free. The map we're using is free. You can actually use, if you really wanted to, the Frogfoot. So you could, you pay the $10 entry fee, and you can participate. You can buy a module, and you can, no kidding, participate. If you don't want to participate, you don't have the equipment, all that stuff, you can watch. It'll be on Twitch and it'll be on YouTube on October 3rd and 4th. And if you just want to make a donation, go to that same link, foh.org/fightforhonor, and make a donation in the name of the tournament. That's all the ways you can support it. All right, this comes from Jordan. Good afternoon. I've been a viewer of your channel for only a short period of time, but I've found your content to be both entertaining and also quite informative. I think it's invaluable for experienced professionals to give prospective students military aviation their honest advice regarding these subjects. Not only provides a perspective free from the recruitment poster side of the house, it can also give individuals some well-needed motivation to make the hard decisions about what they want out of a career. Anyway, I'll get to the point. I'm an Army intelligence officer currently serving in the IRR, which is the Individual Ready Reserve, capacity after leaving active duty some years back. In my spare time, I've managed to obtain a helicopter CFII. He says, I hope you're able to get back into a Helo soon, by the way, which will happen. I've been looking at the process of switching over to the Naval Reserve Aviation, one of the rotary units down here in San Diego. I'm curious if you've ever worked with or have ever known any officer that might have come over as a direct commission transfer from another branch. If so, do you think that is a likely avenue, given that I'm not currently a rated military aviator? I understand that anything is technically possible with the right paperwork and networking. I'm just curious your opinion and the reality of the situation. Thanks for all you've been doing for the community. Appreciate and look forward to hearing from you, Jordan. Okay, so 2 separate issues. One, I have heard of prior service direct commissioning, where it's a lieutenant or a captain that applies to a board and gets sent to pilot training. That happens in the Guard, it happens in the Reserve, it even happens in active duty. What I have never heard of is the Navy Reserve doing it, because I don't think, and I'm not sure, so I'm just going to say I don't know, but I don't think the Navy Reserve has any ability to send anyone to Navy flight school. I don't think that's possible. I could be wrong. I've never heard of it. You're asking if I've ever heard of it. The answer is no, because I know when I was at VFA 204, we could not take UPT applicants. All we could take were people that had been previously fighter qualified, and that's it. And you had to be fighter qualified. So because there was no ability for us to send guys to T-45s or whatever. So I think it's probably going to be the same there. I don't know that they're going to have the school slots availability, all that stuff you need. I think Guard Reserve, absolutely you can do it. But I think you're going to run into issues with the Navy Reserve specifically, because I don't think the Navy Reserve has that capability. So I would do your homework on that one before you jump in anything, because I think it might be unlikely. But I've never seen it. That doesn't mean it's not possible. I've never seen it. Iranian F-14 Ace and his over-G overstress. And it's F-14 G limits. And I think this is related to the fact that we're doing G limits, because a lot of people have sent me this article. So you go to the actual article. Let's see. Interview with the greatest living fighter ace F-14 pilot. He's an Iranian fighter pilot, which makes me think of a Dos Gringos song. And he tells the story. They encountered two groups heading our way from two directions. The flight of two, we prepared to engage the enemy at 690 knots. That's a good number, although a little fast. Slightly over 50 feet above the water, I noticed our master arm switch had failed, leaving us defenseless. The hunter had become the hunted. The attacking Mirage fired 6 air-to-air missiles, or redheads as we called them. Making hard turns in high Gs, we defeated the missiles, re-engaged them in a canopy-to-canopy dogfight. They kept maneuvering hard, keeping yourself out of their gun and IR missile lock. Once the maneuvers saw one mid crash into the water. Once we were clear, I noticed that my G-suit had ruptured from the pressure. My helmet had cracked, hitting the canopy. On our way back to base, we were advised by ELINT that the local ground radar that only 3 of the 5 Mirages had returned. After the flight, my Rio had to wear a neck brace for 6 months while I suffered injuries to my knees, which resulted in 2 surgeries. After my retirement, the G-meter was locked at 11.5 Gs on the gauge, which required the Tomcat to go through non-destructive inspection. Analysis showed 19 cracks and fractures along the longitudinal axis of the aircraft, which put it out of service for almost 2 years. We were lucky that day. Exactly. That's my point. So people keep bringing this up in the tournament. Well, I saw an article. It could pull 11 Gs. It could pull 10 Gs. We don't. We don't, because as you see in this event, the aircraft was not usable. The pilot and the Rio were injured, and the aircraft wasn't usable. In this case, it had 19 cracks and fractures and 10 Gs. And it was out for 2 years. So the point of the tournament is to prove that you can not only engage, but win with the gun, and then have a usable aircraft after. That's the challenge. So, and that's what we do in real life. You know, when we go out and fight in combat or in training or whatever, the goal is not to just win once and that's it. The goal is to win and still be able to either drop our bombs or get home, and then be able to hand the jet off safely to the next pilot so they can go reload and go out and prosecute the mission. Because if you break your jet, even if you win, it's still technically a kill because the jet's no longer usable. I mean, now granted, if it is last ditch, or, you know, it's either you, that's the only way to survive, absolutely. But that's not how we train, and that's not how we fight. We're not just going to throw G limits out the window if we can help it. So that's why that rule exists in the tournament, and that's why we've added it, and that's why it's not changing. So it's 7.5 Gs per Northrop Grumman. Anything after that requires an inspection. I'm given a half G buffer. That's the end. I mean, that's the rule. And I think that adds realism. People have said, hey, I want more realism, DCS. Well, here you go. And this proves it. I mean, this is actually not proof that, oh, the Tomcat can take more Gs. This is proof that, hey, if you exceed known G limits, you become a test pilot. And even though you survive, the jet may not be usable. So enough on that. All right, this comes from Christian. I just discovered your channel a few weeks ago and have binge watched a ton of episodes. While I'm not a pilot, I'm an avid aviation lover. I went the Army route out of high school, became a police officer, then a deputy sheriff, then a federal Leo, and I'm currently a federal agent duty stationed in Arizona field office. You're an inspiration, brother. Wish you and the internet were around when I was planning my military career. You're awesome. I love everything you're putting out and the service you're providing everyone. You don't have to do what you're doing. It's just awesome that you do. You should put out some cop humor memes like you do with the fighter pilot memes. That's a good point. We should do that one day. Anyway, my question, sorry. Do you find it easier, better, one way or the other to have the flight stick on the side like you did in the F-16, or between your legs, so to speak, like the F-18, so to speak, is mine? He said insert joke. I know the F-16 came first for you, so that's what you're kind of learned on, so to speak. Oh, there's a so to speak. But do you have a preference, or does it matter one way or another? Someone who's never experienced either one, it seems like more intuitive to have the middle centered on your body as opposed to off to the side. Thanks again for just being a real awesome dude. You seem like you'd be a cool dude to go through the door with. Stay safe, brother Christian. First of all, Christian, thank you for what you do. I support law enforcement. I'm in law enforcement, obviously, so you know this is a rough time, and I just, to everyone in the field, I think most of America does support you, and we have your back, and you just be safe out there. As far as your questions, so yeah, I mean, in the F-16, you know, you fly the T-38, it's the center stick. You fly the T-6, it's the center stick. A couple times, you know, you get used to that, and instinctively you like turn around and you think to grab the stick, and it's not there, and it's over here. And then alternatively, I did the same thing when I switched to the F-18, where I got used to having the stick over here, and I would instinctively reach to go grab the stick, and it would be in the center. The nice thing about the Hornet stick is you can switch hands. So you could turn right hand, turn left hand, or both hands, you know, in your lap. That was kind of cool. You really can't, you know, two-hand, and you didn't need this two-hand, the F-16, just because it's a pressure-sensitive stick. But I think it's just what you get used to. The only thing I'll say about the F-16 the first time, and it really only happens the very first flight, is you tend to ratchet the wings, just because it holds whatever you give it. You know, unlike most aircraft, you know, you take some, you put an input in, you take half out kind of deal. Not in the F-16. I mean, if you take half out, you'll ratchet your way around. It's just something to get used to. But it is something, you know, you will have that ghost stick or the muscle memory and stuff, but you get used to it. You know, it's like anything else. But thanks for the email. And again, please be safe out there. Well, that'll do it for today's Mover Mailbag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, sign up for the Folds of Honor Fight for Honor 2020. Just 1 week left to sign up. That will close next Friday. So hope to see you in the tournament. It'll be a great time supporting Folds of Honor. But if you want to send me something, Mover Mailbag at cwlemoyne.com. Or you can mail me something, P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70470. And I will say, if you do mail me something, shoot me an email, cwlemoyne@cwlemoyne.com. Let me know that you actually physically mailed me something, because a lot of times the post office will hold on to it, and I won't get a notification. And then by the time I go check it, it's already been sent back. That has happened once before. Post office didn't even know they had it, which was kind of disappointing. So it got sent back, and then actually didn't get sent back because the person who sent it said, well, I never got it back. So. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Excuse me. Oh, no. Oh! About a lot of that. God. Usually fly with the doors off. All Fox 2. Don't be a douche. That's rule number 1. Make them tell you no.